My name is Mike Rohn. It's going to be a series of little sit-down conversation and interviews I do with different people from around San Diego that's got things going on. Kind of like not necessarily on the biggest scale, but like on a, on some type of a big scale. You know what I mean? And this is just the first episode right here. My man Abe Muheize,
Yes, sir.
co-owner of the San Diego Kings. I appreciate you sitting down with me, bro.
Definitely.
So basically, what we're going to do is, we're going to talk to Abe, get your story. And like I said, it's just the first episode. Everybody we sit down with, we're going to get their story, talk to them about like where they're from, if they're not from even if they are from San Diego, just where they're from, kind of their upbringing and kind of what kind of led them along the path that they're going down.
Cool.
So just for starters, man, you're from San Diego, right?
Yeah, born and raised from here in El Cajon, actually.
Okay.
From here. Yeah, man. Born and raised right here out of San Diego. I'm a San Diego boy, El Cajon kid.
Right. We right here in your gym, El Cajon
Yeah,
Valley.
man. El Cajon Valley High School, man.
Yeah.
My stomping grounds. I went to Narenka Elementary here, Magnolia, Bostonia, Cajon Valley Middle School, El Cajon Valley High School, even Grossmont College was under the district of El Cajon.
Right.
So yeah, man, everything El Cajon around here. Yeah.
I didn't even know all of that.
Yeah.
That's what's up. That's what's up. And so I know you're a big time high school football player. So when did you start playing football? Was it in high school or Pop Warner or what?
I started, even before that, I started playing on Peach Street here in El Cajon, just to where I remember my brother, he's 7.5 years older than me, so him and all the older guys, like 13, 14, they're just on the street playing. Car comes, somebody yelling car comes, everybody move to the side, cars keep going, and then boom, they're back out there playing. I remember playing with them to where I started as like the all-time center. You know what I mean? I was just a little kid, and I would like be crying to play. Let me get on my brother's team.
Right.
I even still remember playing to where like so young to where I'm like, let me get on kickoff return. They'd be playing to where my brother acted like I was a lead blocker, put the football on my back of my shirt. I'm dipping for a touchdown. He's over here acting like he got the ball. I got the memories like back then, but from then I fell in love with football, and then I went to played El Cajon Pop Warner right over here at Wells Park, and had a amazing dads and moms that came together during El Cajon Pop Warner and made that experience something that, man, I just was addicted to playing football. Anytime football season ended, it was like depressing for me because I was like, damn, we got to go a few months without it. And I couldn't wait till signups would come around, and we would camp out together as a team just to sign up together. And we had like 4 years where we went undefeated in Pop Warner.
That's dope. I know you're on that team because even though as you know, I went to high school up in Escondido, but I went to middle school in elementary, my first year of middle school out here in San Diego. And I played for South Bay Pop Warner. Our team went very good. All of my friends played at VP. They played on the good team. I played at South Bay on the trash team.
Right.
I think I vaguely remember hearing about a team out in El Cajon we're the same age, so it's like, you know what I mean?
For sure, we were the El Cajon Red team, and in 2000 we ended up even going 15-0 all the way to Hawaii. Won the Hawaii Western championship for Pop Warner. Yeah, it was tight, man.
That's dope.
It was super tight.
And like I said, you were a big-time high school football player, so was it a lot of your teammates from the Pop Warner team that went into high school with you, or was it kind of just a new thing?
Man, because El Cajon high schools always had that stigma of being that, where all the minorities are at, it's a ghetto school, and sports are not that good. It was only 3 of us that went there.
Really?
Yeah, so it was me, my boy Clifton, who's now the head baseball coach here, my boy Nate Shad, who's still to this day my best friend. We've been with each other since the first time we ever signed up at Pop Warner. And all 3 of us came here. And by our senior year, man, we just got blessed to have a coach believe in us the same way we had coaches in Pop Warner believe in us.
And so I keep saying you were a big time player in high school. And I know that firsthand because I actually had played against you, which you figured out later on. And so where you were able to be an All-American by your senior year. Talk about how, because you were kind of under the radar before your senior year, right?
Oh, for sure.
So talk about, because I know I still work. I'm behind the camera now, but I still talk to a lot of kids in sports. And a lot of times if they're not highly touted like a Boogie Cousins who got recruited to go to Duke, sometimes it kind of messes with their confidence. And I try to tell them about people like Damian Lillard in the NBA who played at Weber State.
Right.
Now he's an all-star. Like Paul George who went to Fresno.
Right.
And now he was an MVP candidate.
Right.
And then, so talk about you being kind of under the radar and then kind of just bursting on the scene and how that happened.
Definitely, man. Even I've always been an under the radar guy. Even in Pop Warner, first I'm a Palestinian Arab. I got a Arab family. My mom got here when I came to America in '87. I was born in '88.
Oh wow!
And so my brothers and sisters were already accustomed to another area. By the time they're like 8, 9, 10 years old, they came to America,
Okay.
you know, figuring out English. And I was born and came onto the scene. And football became my first love on anything. And so as I started playing football, you know, they started realizing I was really athletic, you know, but still, there was the black kids, the white kids, and then boom, hey, you know what I mean, onto the scene, a couple of Mexican kids, you know what I mean? And I was a running back. By the time I started playing running back, I wasn't really getting the ball as much, you know what I mean? And then my boy's dad, Adolfo Gonzalez, I'll never forget, by the time that 2000 year came around, he was like, Abe, I want to put you at quarterback. I'm like, listen, man, I want the football. I'm tired of not getting the football. I know I can, you know, bang and like give me my chance. It's been like 3-4 years. I'm just like the receiver. They liked how I blocked and, you know, I always busted my ass. But finally, he put me in running back, starting running back, where I got to just kill it. And that was like my confidence year. That was the year we went 15-0, went to Maui. I had as many touchdowns as the other kids on my team now. We were like, I was like, damn, I know I got it now. You know, I felt that confidence, like somebody believed in me. Same thing in high school. I had a coach who just believed in me, was like, man, I want to put you at quarterback. This is my first time ever playing quarterback. I denied it in Pop Warner.
Okay.
And so my senior year, I got moved from running back, which I was 165 pounds, and just wasn't really getting much attention at running back because a little Arabic kid at running back, they would think maybe I'd be a DB in college. But by my senior year, my coach was like, I want to put you at quarterback. I want you to have the ball every time. I think you're the smartest guy on the field. And it just gave me that like confidence, man. Like this dude really believes in me. I'm about to kill it. And so that senior year, man, I was at quarterback, 5 wide offense, nobody in the backfield but me. I got to run and gun. The dude told me straight up, if you have to run it 50 times a game, hey, run it 50 times a game. I'm like, damn, this feels like Pop Warner when I got Adolfo now, but now I'm in high school with it. So that blessing alone, man, was dope. But like, no matter how much I killed it, I was not getting recruited. It was weird. I would get like some small schools come around here and there. They would come sit in my living room with me, my mom, who's a single mom of 4, wrapped up, you know, Muslim woman. And so it was a little awkward for them in our living room, you know what I mean? So I could feel that and sense that, but it didn't really dawn on me until I got older that like, damn, man, like if I would have put up numbers like this and been maybe at any other race, I probably would have had an opportunity. But we're talking about a time where it was like 9/11 just happened. You know what I mean? 9/11 happened, and I'm like a Muslim, an Arab Muslim, where like all you see in the news is Muslim terrorist this and Muslim terrorist that, and Osama bin Laden this, and you know what I mean? I was like Osama bin Laden, oh, Osama bin Laden's at quarterback, or the camel jockey's at quarterback. You know what I mean? So like, I just wasn't getting that recruitment, you know? So it was pretty heartbreaking. I can still remember the first time I came to realization, like, damn, I'm about to be at a junior college and I'm an All-American. Like, so as a confidence, like, downer, that was a huge, like, shot at my confidence, you know? But,
what did that shot at your confidence, did it affect your work ethic at all?
it did. For sure
How
it
so?
did. When I got to college, it was kind of like, you know, when I got here, it was like, man, I'm a leader. I'm the one on this, like, losing. All these dudes know about losing, but in Pop Warner, our coaches ran us, like, last on the field till all the other kids were gone. So it was like work ethic, work ethic, work ethic. And then by the time I got to college and seeing that, it was just kind of like a balloon just popped, you know? Like, for me, I went to bed every single night praying and dreaming, like, please, God, let me be an All-American. Never met an All-American in my life. I was just praying for it. And the way God works, man, is crazy because it just happened. Like, all of a sudden, I became an All-American. I became this All-State guy. I dreamed of going to Florida State thinking, like, damn, this might really happen. I kept dreaming and praying on it. But those calls never came. Those letters never came, you know? So it was just kind of like, I still remember that day, the same day I realized, like, damn, I'm about to go to Grossmont College. I was at home in the shower probably like an hour just crying. You know what I mean? So it was pretty heartbreaking. And it was a shot at my confidence, you know what I mean? And really my work ethic wasn't the same after that. Yeah.
So you went to Grossmont. What position did you end up playing at Grossmont?
Safety. So I was a safety at Grossmont.
So you played, like I said, I played against you. So I know you were a safety and a quarterback in high school, and then you played safety in college. And any football after Grossmont, or is that kind of where it
So
started?
then I went to Grossmont, and then kind of the same thing happened at Grossmont, to be honest. So my very first year, I killed it as a freshman. You know, I had a great year to where I showed out on special teams when I first started out. I even have a record where I blocked 3 punts in a game, and had a great year. You know, as a freshman coming out, and I was a qualifier but I wasn't really put out as a qualifier that could transfer out. And so Montana State was one of those people that came and sat in my living room. Right when I had blocked those 3 punts, they were like, "That's it, man. I want you here at Montana State." That was the most impressive thing that I've heard. That shows character right there. And so I like that. Somebody wanted me. I was just like, "Cool, I'm there."
Right.
So after my freshman year at Grossmont, the season ended in December. By January, I moved to Montana. I'm at Montana State on a full ride. Culture shock like a motherfucker in Montana. You talking about like, you talking about being the only Middle Eastern somewhere. Like, I don't know when I was gonna find another Middle Eastern around. You know what I mean? Let alone Muslim, Arab. So that was kind of a shocker right there.
That culture shock is tough because like I went through it a little bit myself. Like I said, being from out here, and at the time I lived in Southeast. I went to Valencia Park Elementary and I went to O'Farrell Middle School. And at the time, it was majority, black people. But at my school, it was a lot of black people, a lot of white kids, a lot of Mexican kids, a lot of Asian kids. Especially at O'Farrell, it was a lot of Asian kids. So it was a little bit of everything, but mainly, like for me anyway, which was important, it was a lot of black people.
Right.
And then so when I get to Escondido, it's like no black people. Like my high school was like 0.3% black people, not 1.3.
Right.
0.3% black people.
Wow.
And when I first get to Escondido as a 7th grader, and like I said, I'm used to being around people, not even just people that look like me, but just, I was about to say not even just people of color, but really people that look like me. And I get out there and there ain't nobody out there. It was like, dang, this is crazy. And then I hear kind of like the racist remarks and my brother fighting every other day. So I could relate to you on that, that culture shock thing, bro. I'm sure it's way different in Montana because I'm pretty sure like you're like the only
Montana
one.
was different because all they cared about was football. Like that was like a straight football town.
That's what's up.
And so I remember getting out there and at practice, they had people watching practice. So I'd kill it in practice. I'd go on the internet. This is like brand new before like Instagram, and Facebook, and like, Facebook's out, but it wasn't like cracking like that, like it is now, So people were on these little like messengers, and I would see people like Googling me and like looking me up and talking about me, and they loved me out there. But what sucks was the whole staff got fired in the summer. Guys from California were moving drugs and got caught for like the 5th time, which I didn't even know. Going into it, players were getting caught up. Out-of-state players getting caught up moving drugs out there. And so they fired the whole staff. And I'm sitting here like, ooh, I don't want to be that California kid out there now. So I wish I wouldn't have, but I left. And I came back to Grossmont College where I tore my ACL right when I came back.
I want to know that.
And then by the following season, talk about motivation being gone. A lot of motivation was gone. I didn't know if I was going to continue playing after that ACL. I'm like, man, this is a roller coaster ride right now. And then I came back for my sophomore season to play at Grossmont in 08, and I killed it. They just had a super conference, and I was a first team all super conference player.
You said it's 2008?
It's 2008.
Okay. Graduated high school 2006.
Graduated high school 2006.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then so 2008 now, I'm at Grossmont College, and I killed it that next year. But same thing with recruiting. A lot of these dudes around me getting D1 scholarships. I don't even have a D2 scholarship. I'm not getting nothing. And old man Jordan, I'll never forget, looking at me one day, was like, Abram, I don't get it. He's like, you're better than a lot of guys that I've sent to SC, Arizona State, Pac-10 schools. And I was like, and that was one of the first times I came out like, honestly, man, I know what it is. You're looking at an Arab, man. How many Arabs you know playing safety or playing some type of skill position in Division I football, And he was just like, shocked at it, He's like, I really don't know what it is. I'm like, that's really what it is right there.
Right.
And next thing you know, I'm getting recruited by Florida A&M at HBC school, Historic Black College.
Right.
And I get there, and I'm like, it's cool with me. You know what I mean? I just went to an all-white school. I'll go to an all-black school. Right. There ain't no all-Arab school. I just want to play football. You telling me you're going to play University of Miami? I'm going to play in a classic, the bands, Battle of the Bands Classic, around 70,000 people. I'm like, sign me up. So I signed the scholarship. And they asked me, they were like, this is an HBC school. I'm like, well, I'm Palestinian, right? And I told them the same thing. I said, well, I just went to Montana State's all-white school. I'm like, I don't care what race it is. You're talking about playing in front of big fans. I just want to play football.
Right.
So they liked that. They respected that. They signed me. And then the dude who signed me in June, I signed in February of 09. In June of 09, I'm busting my ass. I'm like motivated as ever. Like somebody wants me, I'm signed, I'm good. Like I'm about to be out there and just killing it. A week before I'm supposed to fly out, they call me and they tell me that the dude who did sign me is gone. And that they were gonna take my scholarship away because my transcripts wouldn't add up. They had a new counselor there, and I wouldn't have been eligible if I got there. So I ended up not going to Florida A&M. They literally just released me with like messed up my whole recruiting process on that. Season's about to start in like 2-3 months. I'm thinking I'm about to go there and like get me a spot. Next thing you know, I'm still out here in El Cajon, San Diego, and July 11th, 2009, I ended up getting shot in my arm, where sat me out a whole year. Yeah, man, shot in my arm. Had to have multiple surgeries.
I've seen that scar and I never knew what it was about. Never asked about it.
Yeah, I'm in the back seat of my boy's car while we're trying to leave a party, and these dudes light up the car.
Damn.
Yeah.
Was it like they were trying to get him or get you? Wrong place, wrong time, or what?
Wrong place, wrong time. They were just 2-3 in the morning, nothing good going on then. Everybody's drunk. They're trying to get some girl. The girl doesn't want to leave with them. She wants to leave with us. She decides to leave with us. And they literally shot up the car. She left with us.
Did your boy get hit or just you?
My boy who was driving got hit in the back. I was right behind him. They ended up taking out my whole arm. By the time we get to the hospital, he leaves within like a couple hours. I'm like, how the hell you get shot in the back and you're out? Like, they need to stitch me up and let me go. They're like, nah, you got your bone got hit. Next thing you know, they put a big old plate in my arm. I didn't even have all this yet. They just had a bullet hole they stapled up. And that first night, I'm like nonstop hitting the nurses. Like, I can't feel my fingers. They call emergency surgery. Next thing you know, they opened me up from my palm all the way down to middle of my arm. And for a whole week, they were just sitting there like peeling off this like freaking, it's almost like duct tape all over my arm, opening it. It was just this whole open arm like this, where you see my tendon and all. And they were cleaning it every 2 days for a week. I'm in the hospital, them cleaning it. And then the next week, they had took a piece of my leg and put it on my arm. And then I had to come back like a couple months later just to get a piece of my hip bone put to replace the bone that was in my arm.
Golly.
Yeah. So that was a shit show for sure.
I bet.
And then, but during that process, I didn't give up. I was still kind of like, man, I could quit now, or I can find my, finish up these last 2 years somewhere. They were like, my arm would never be the same, but I'd get like 80% of it back. I'm like, well, that's better than nothing. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that. And so that's why I went to Central Washington.
Okay. How'd you deal with that? Was it a thing like, were you looking for these guys like for revenge, or you kind of just let it
I wanted
go?
to so badly.
I bet.
But I wasn't gonna get nothing out of it.
Right.
It already happened. You know what I mean? Like, only thing like good come out of it, I could say, was that I had more time in that hospital to really like get my mind right. Because I had my boys coming in like, hey, we can find them, and I'm like, nah, man, you find one of them, next thing you know, the other ones is coming for me. Like,
right.
They know my name now. Like, it's out there. I'm the one who got shot. I'm the one in the hospital. I was the one on the news that got shot over it. You know what I mean? So I had a lot of time to think. When you talk about 14 days in the hospital, I ended up just started typing away like more of my story in a book. I ended up writing a book called It's All About Fourth Down. Still lives on my laptop right now, but it was therapy for me to actually like break down. At first I was trying to write about being an Arab trying to play football, like how hard it is for me to try to make it. And that turned into me going deeper into just my whole life, and kind of got to reflect a little bit, and it motivated me to be like, you know what, well, my story ain't gonna end here, so I'm gonna figure this out. So I started emailing a bunch of coaches, and I emailed Central Washington, and the coach, 5 minutes after getting an email from me, calls me and was like, Abraham, you remember me? I was at Idaho State, and I remember him. He was a good dude. He actually helped my brother go to Europe. I'm like, yeah, you helped my brother go play football in Europe. He's like, yeah, man, I heard he's doing good out there, and I want to bring you out here, man. You got a scholarship. Just let me know. We'll bring you out here now. Central Washington University.
Okay.
So January of 2010, a few months after this, they didn't know how bad this was. They finally see it when they got there. Like, damn, this is pretty bad, I can't even lift weights yet, and I'm there in Central Washington. But it turned out where, I got to go there. Wasn't really the best place for me.
Why is that?
I get there, and the DB coach, who's also the D coordinator, wasn't feeling me the same way the linebacker coach was feeling me to get there. The one who recruited me there. Politics like crazy. He had this 6'3" white dude from Seattle, in state, and no matter how good I did, I wasn't gonna be the starter. I was a rotator because I wasn't like garbage where you could bench me, but you could rotate me in and out. And that's where I was. I was a rotator, and it was the most frustrating thing I ever had to deal with in my life. Where no matter what I did, this dude like just was not feeling me at all. I mean, to the point to where I get an interception in practice. We have bets with the coach, like Gatorade bets, and I get like a couple picks every practice. I was always getting a pick of practice. And to where receivers would come up to me like, bro, I've never seen somebody's position coach like slam their hat when a player got a pick as a DB, you know what I mean? To where I went through a lot of shit out there, you know what I mean? To where by the time I was done there, 2 years, my knee retore. By the second year, my plate in my bone ended up re-breaking and only played in like 6 games. And I'm out here in Central Washington still dealing with this dickhead of a coach who was just wasn't having it. So bad to where by my senior year, after this ACL tour, my junior year out there, he comes to me and is like, I'm moving you to linebacker. I'm like, thank you. Because I just seen our linebackers kill it.
Right.
And I'm like, the linebacker coach loves me. This is the dude that recruited me. This is the dude that recruited helped my brother go to Europe. I'm like, cool. So I get down there and I go to the linebacker coach's office and he's like, again, it was ones that secure, like a coach believed in me again, like in Pop Warner, like in high school. And like Coach Collins, who's about to believe in me at linebacker, he's like, listen, I want you healthy. I want you to make sure you take care of it. You have none to prove to me. I know how intelligent you are. You know what I mean? He's like, I know what you can do. There's a reason why you play quarterback. You play safe. Now you're going to play linebacker. Like, I know you're going to kill it. That spring, I come back in, and I was killing it. Starter. Done, He calls me in the summer. He's leaving schools. I'm like, fuck. Damn, this was my chance for my senior year. Like, I'm about to just kill it. I don't care where you put me. Just put me on that field. And so by the time I get back to school, I'm thinking, let me go back early. I go back a month early, talking about the train and, like, bust ass for that linebacker spot. And meet this new linebacker coach. Bro, I get there. That DB coach is now my linebacker coach and D coordinator now. Moves that same white boy that he wanted to rotate me in. I can't even make this up, bro. Moves him to linebacker. And it was just like a shit show for those, like, that whole summer leading up to those few games. Like, it was just a shit show.
And see, for me, I'm sure for a lot of other people, it's good and both interesting for me to hear you tell that story with all of that going on, because I've got friends and like so many people that I've met that stopped playing sports and they be like, man, it's too much politics, man, this, that, and the third. And on the one hand, I'd be like, I'm sure there is, because I was never an All-American. I was never heavily recruited at all.
Right.
So I can't say that I could speak to that, but a lot of times when I hear that, like, oh, so much politics, I'd be like, bro, they're going to play the best player.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But then when you hear so many stories about, like, well, I mean, bro, no matter, like you said, no matter what you did, like, he literally moved the same guy into your position.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? Like, that's real politics.
Oh, man,
that's tough to overcome.
It is. And then when I beat him out for it, he moved me to the other side of the linebacker to, like, go get that spot now. It was bad, bro. It was bad. I couldn't even make it up to where other people were. It was so noticeable. Other people would be like, bro, I don't even understand. I'm like, I don't understand.
Right.
It makes no sense to me. But it was real politics. And we were in a division where he could do that. He could afford to do that. It wasn't like this big time like conference where it was like killers and the dude was getting exposed. He wasn't like a garbage player. He just wasn't better than me.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was like obvious to everybody on the team except this coach. You know what I mean?
So you finish up your senior year.
I got hurt my senior year, and then I went through a depression by the time that was it, because, my season ended. I'm in Washington, and I'm sitting here, like, just losing it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm supposed to be coming home telling my boys, like, I'm about to get ready for this draft or go to the NFL. Like, the dream continues, But instead, it was like I couldn't get over this coach, like, fucking me over and, like, playing me out for 2 years, And so I went through a depression that lasted probably like a month, man, where I was just going through it. Never knew what a nervous breakdown really was.
How'd you deal with the depression?
Bro, I was like, I remember blasting stuff on like Facebook and Twitter and like just going in, and people were all scared, thinking like I was gonna commit suicide or something. You know what I mean? To where I come back home, my brother drives me to the hospital. They're trying to like diagnose me as bipolar and shit. And I didn't even know what bipolar was at the time. I go to a little clinic where they're trying to diagnose me as bipolar. And I go in there and I read about bipolar, and I'm like, oh, shit, they're tripping if they think I'm bipolar, you know what I mean? So I'm reading on it, and I'm like, well, it says about being emotional and all that. I'm like, they don't understand, like, my shit just ended. Like, my football career, like, just ended right now, you know what I mean? So I literally walked into the counselor lady's office, whoever. They were trying to put me on some fucking pills that had me fucked up mentally. Like, it was like just, I feel bad for people that have to take that shit, honestly. And so I walk up in there and I tell her right away, I'm like, well, before we get started, I got to let you know, like, I get why they would want to, like, call me bipolar and all that. No one's seen me, like, fucking flip out and lose my shit. I'm always that most positive person, like, chasing my dreams. But literally, my shit just ended, and I feel like it got taken from me more than it just ended. And that's really my problem going through it. Within 5 minutes of talking to me, lady's like, yeah, you're not bipolar. I'm sorry you had to go through that and whatnot. And just, you know, do what you got to do to get through it. And it just, for me to get through it, I just started hooping. And that's where I, like, started finding myself just hooping more. You know what I mean? I just had to get active. I had to compete. You know, try to find myself.
So where were you playing ball? It's like pickup games? Like
24-hour fitness in Santee. Then I jumped into pickup games. And
had you been much into basketball before that?
yeah, huge.
Okay.
Every school I went to, like, I'd find the gym to go hoop against the hoopers. You know what I mean? Montana State, I'm hooping with the D1 basketball players. Central Washington, I'm hooping with the hoopers. Anytime I could hoop, I love to hoop. I just love to compete. I mean, if I didn't pursue football, I would have definitely pursued basketball for sure. You know, I just felt like I had a better shot at football, which I was wrong. But
and so, how did you? I don't think you were wrong. You just kind of got dealt a bad hand.
For sure.
And so, with getting in the hoop, how did you? So I know. So obviously, you're the co-owner of the San Diego Kings, and so you got more into playing basketball. Did that kind of like funnel you into like being the owner of a basketball team, or what?
For sure. So that became a process. First, I was getting into like raising capital. I knew for sure like I had to do something, and I wasn't gonna sit here and like clock in for somebody.
So, I'm sorry. Before we get to that, so when you come back from school, like, how are you making money, or how are you paying bills, or how are you?
While I was hooping, I was at my mom's house.
Okay.
For the longest, and a guy at the gym was like, "Yo, I need somebody athletic that can install solar panels." Like, I'll do it. So I got with him, and I was working with him for like almost a year, and installing solar panels. And during that process, I was still trying to be an entrepreneur. I'd go there till like 4 o'clock. Boom, I'd get to my boy's office where I'm trying to like raise capital for party buses. And you know, this dude is a young entrepreneur. He's like, man, you learn this money game.
What was your boy's name? Who was he?
Chris Williams.
Okay.
And he started XMG Experience Management Group, and he had a.
He's from out here.
He's from out here, yeah.
Okay.
He's heavily involved in medical marijuana now. Dude's very smart, talented, young. And at the time, he was like 30. I was like 23, you know, and he was teaching me how to raise capital. So I was over here getting over the phone, calling investors for $49,000 for a percent in our transportation company. So this is before Uber and Lyft. So his vision was there, and it still is. It just took so much more than what we could raise. We raised 1.8 million. But for me to first like get over this phone and ask people for 49,000, I'm reading the script and I'm like, hey Chris, come here real quick. Is this 4,900 or 49,000? He's like, $49,000. Say that shit, Abe. I'm like, 49,000. Like, say that shit confidently. Like, that ain't shit. 49,000 is nothing to these guys you're calling.
They got it. Right.
All right. So, you know, I'm on the phone. I'm like, for 49,000. Yeah, that's the investment for 1%. You know what I mean? Like, it's scary, bro. It was like shocking for me. But it all led into like where I'm at now, you know. So while I was doing that, I'm still hooping all the time. I'm getting into men's leagues. I'm always playing pickup basketball. That was like my therapy for me. And it still is to this day. Like just a hoop like gets my mind off a lot. So
you're installing solar panels, working with your boy, raising capital, and then just hooping on the side.
Right. And then I seen somebody catch a deal and they got like 5 G's out of it. And I'm like, bro, I'll sit in here broke as hell if I got to just to get one deal for 5 G's. You know what I mean? So I was like, fuck that solar shit. Let me spend time on these phones more. 4 years later, man, I only cracked like 2 deals. But I was so into like what we were doing. So the concept of it was a transportation system with buses for all types of businesses, for all types of people that have parties. Basically what Uber's doing from an app, you can get on a bus, but you'd be able to catch deals to where you're going, and it'll all be through an app.
What do you mean catch deals?
So like I'm going to get a bus to Vibes tonight or Park, and I'm going to have a party at like 8. I can reserve that party at 8. There'll be a system of buses, and I'm going to say, I'm here in El Cajon. They'll say, all right, so if you and your group want to ride from this bus, you can get to this bus spot, and we'll pick you guys up and take you down there. And then it would tell us down towards Park or downtown what deals are down there. And we could literally like click on them deals. That was our concept, or his concept that he came up with. And it was like genius. I still think it could work. It would just take a shit ton of money. But now with Uber, it would be very difficult. But this is going to be like Uber for buses.
Right.
You know, you have a party, boom, you guys get on that instead of paying like 2 G's for a bus. Everyone's paying like $20 each. They're going. That bus drops them off, and they're picking up other people, and it's just like a system of buses throughout San Diego. So, man, I was all about it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But we failed. We just couldn't get it off the ground. With 1.8 million. You talk about like how much you got to spend on insurance. You talk about how much you got to spend on everything, man. It was just so complicated. And so for me, I seen the light though, you know what I mean, of like raising capital, how powerful it was. Mm-hmm. And you know, I got to figure out how important social media was during that time. And that's where he took off with social media. That's why he jumped in medical marijuana, and he's been killing it with his social media side. I actually taught him about social media. He'd be like, man, get the fuck off your phone already and get on the phone and make calls. I'm like, bro, we got all these buses. I'm over here freaking building our page so we can actually like rent these buses out while we're trying to build the system. Right. He's like, man, I'm like, bro, give me 5 minutes. Let me show you. So he's over here pulling up, you know, with the attitude like hurry up, shut up so we can get on these phones and really get this money, you know? I show him and he like went OCD on it, like fucking on how to like interact. Mm-hmm. This is like 6-7 years. What am I, 30 now, 31? It's like 6-7 years ago, you know? Mm-hmm. And went hard on it. Next thing you know, we became more of a media company than anything. Mm-hmm. Multimedia with it, social media like crazy. And he's Canon Chronicle online right now. You know?
Okay, I've seen that before. I don't think I follow him, but I've definitely seen it.
Yeah. So he does with, so right now he's actually going after properties for medical marijuana and doing a damn good job going after it over in the city of Lemon Grove. Mm-hmm. So shout out to Chris Williams on that. The guy's a beast. Taught me a lot about getting over the phone, the confidence to be able to like go to an investor, you know. Mm-hmm. And that's when I moved on to insurance after that. Okay. You know, it just came to a point where I'm like, fuck, man, I gotta make serious money. I only cracked a couple deals. I'm only making like $200 a week for like a couple years living at my mom's. You know, I'm like 26, 27 now. I'm like, fuck, I gotta do something. Mm-hmm. So I end up getting involved in insurance. And just put my work ethic of like how I was banging out calls for investors. I'm like locking up insurance deals where I was killing it on that. And during that time, I decided to start getting involved with my high school and actually like raising money for my high school with basketball because I was in a basketball league where I paid like $120. I'm like, fuck, man, 10 of us paid $120. I'm like, that's over $1,000 per team, 10 teams. Like, it can't be this expensive. And so I just started doing the numbers, and I came and I approached Oklahoma and said, listen, I don't want to like make money doing this, but I want to raise money for Oklahoma Valley High School doing this. For me, it was like free basketball to do something I want to do, which is make money for my school. So long story short, man, asking for like 50 grand over the phone wasn't shit when I was asking for 500 over the phone to local businesses. So that's what I literally did. I walked around, I got like 10 different businesses, dropped 500. That's like 5 G's there. I had local basketball teams. I went and found like general manager of their teams. 10 of them to drop we'll get their team to pay 500. Men's league teams. Okay. You get a team, and it's gonna be 500 for your team. 10 players, $50 each. Boom. So my first year, I had Keenan Allen playing in it. He brought Malcolm Floyd out, and I just had it ran like with sponsors and decked it out like really nice. It was on social media, Facebook Live, and we killed it, man. To where I remember Keenan Allen like called me one day like, hey, on Sunday for the game, like, hey man, I'm about to be getting into town. A little late for our game, but you think you can stall out the refs? I'll tell them I'll pay them a little extra just so we can get our game going. Oh, wow. I remember hanging up like, yo, Keenan Allen wants to make sure these refs stay. He gonna pay them extra to like play that game because it was just that legit of a league. You know what I mean? It was competitive. We had great athletes. We had the social media popping, and within 4 months, I raised $9,500 for the school. And just when I seen how powerful basketball was, that's when I came up with. Somebody approached me about the ABA. A dude that was running the team in Oceanside. I was going to ask you about that. And he was basically like coming in here, and I'll never forget, sat over here, talked to me for like 30 minutes, talking my ear off about basically him running his team out of El Cajon. I'm like, this dude never said nothing. ABA team. In Oceanside? In Oceanside, yeah. I don't think he ever got off the ground. That way, and I never even heard about it. Because it's marketing. Nobody knows how to market, you know what I mean? Well, they're not at least good enough to market. Well, good at marketing. And so I seen that, and I seen the two, and I'm like, you know what? I'll start my own team. I got involved with the ABA, started my own team.
Has that dude hit you up at all?
Nah. Oh, okay. So I started with my own. He's not even around, you know what I mean? So I started with my own team, and at first I was United Basketball. Okay. While I was raising money for the school, I started my own nonprofit called Alumni United. Okay. And so the mission of Alumni United was to educate, inspire, and motivate youth with athletes, entrepreneurs, and motivational speakers. Now, starting United Basketball, I was planning to have a basketball team be involved with the community through Alumni United and be able to get around schools. And this vision is still there, but now I was just blessed to be able to approach a partner. So I put together a proposal. I had it probably like December of 2015, and by June of 2016, I snuck into Attorney King's office with that same proposal I had for him. Never met him in my life. Snuck in and pitched him the idea on the San Diego Kings.
So you had never met him?
Never even
I
met
thought
him.
you had already had a relationship with him.
Never
so
even met
I thought
him.
when you said insurance deals, I thought maybe you were working with him.
He goes after insurance companies. I was just working with a boy of mine with True Pro Insurance, Paul Hart, who hired me to take over like as a manager of insurance with him. And I just knew how much marketing Attorney King was doing in San Diego, and I'm like, if I could get with this Attorney King dude, man, like he'll see like something special out of his basketball team that we can, build.
Mm-hmm.
So while I'm putting my goals out there, telling all my boys, man, if I could just get in front of this Attorney King, it won't be United Basketball, we'll be the San Diego Kings. I even put out a GoFundMe video on YouTube, which is still up there, and it's funny because I talk about what we're doing now with like getting in the community and giving back, and that's how we're going to build this team, community first. And so I went in there and I pitched him the idea 2 days after I dropped my GoFundMe, and he was like, I'll be your partner, let's do it. So now I had somebody believe in me, like I did in Pop Warner, like I did in high school, didn't really in college, you know what I mean? And then like the dude did try, but he left. But then now I had somebody really believing in me, and that's where I think like once somebody believes in me and gives me that like reassurance of like, okay, like I got somebody in my back, in my back pocket, like in my corner, So we've been able to thrive on it, man. So that's been a blessing for me right there.
Mm-hmm. And so you're running the men's league. The guy approached you about the team, and he was like, "I'm gonna just do it myself." Like, that was a great idea, but he's not gonna do it right. I'm gonna do it right.
Right. Yeah, because I had all the talent. He wanted my talent, the players,
I see what you're saying,
on his team and stuff. And I'm like, what's in it for me though? You know what I mean? Like, so I was like, nah. You know what? That's when I reached out and figured out what the ABA was, and I was like, I'll franchise my own team out here.
And so, of course, I don't know. It's because I'm a basketball fan, but I've always known about the ABA. And I've known one of my boys actually, one of my cousins actually, that's from LA, actually came out here to try out for the San Diego Surf years ago, because I think they were doing something to where like if they went and played in some tournament, some of the players were going to go to China.
Right.
And my cousin out in LA heard about that and came out and tried out for the team. So that was when I heard it was like, oh, and then Tens, that's actually on your team.
Right.
Aaron Felix, he was playing for the Surf at the time.
Right.
I don't know if you know, he's one of my childhood friends. I've known him since I was like 9 or something like that.
Dope.
And so I've known about the ABA, but I always knew that I always pictured it as like a smaller scale, like something that nobody really paid attention to until you came into the ABA with the Kings. And I feel like you brought, in San Diego anyway, brought more attention to it and made it kind of more legit for people. So what made you want to kind of enter a league that nobody really want to pay attention to?
It was just an opportunity more than anything, I didn't see no other opportunity where I could actually own my own organization and like start it from scratch and run it how I wanted to run it. And I did hear all the horror stories of how like these owners, it was like ran like men's league style, but with the team, and just all the like bad horror stories you can think. And I'm thinking like, all right, well, I'm about to run mine right. So I started looking up and I found this team in Jacksonville owned by an accident attorney. And it was like legit, like they ran it right. They would pack out 6,000 to 8,000 people at a game, and I'm like, I could do that. And so with the confidence of knowing that I could do that, that's why I approached Attorney King and I showed them those videos of like Jacksonville and said, one thing that they have or that they don't have that I do is I know social media better than them. I bet you anything I could get this off the ground. I would be that social media where everybody knows about the Kings in San Diego and we could really grow this thing. But he wasn't really about that. He was more about what we could do in the community, seeing that I was all about, I just gave $9,500 to my school. I was running alumni events. I'm doing stuff in the community. He liked that more, and that's where I wanted to focus the team on. I always pictured me getting players paid. Right now it's like the NBA, Europe, G League. There's nothing really like below that. So I wanted to do something where guys were actually getting paid to be community outreach specialists. They were always in the community. That's what got them paid, and their bonus was playing basketball to get to the G League, to get to the NBA, to get to the next overseas in Europe. And I feel like that's where I'm at right now to get that stepping stone.
That's dope. I think you're doing it the right way. And the whole community first thing is, I mean, other than it just being like to help the community, it's also like a smart way to like get fans and to get people involved and get people to fall in love with the team. Actually, I think my first time even hearing about the Kings, it might have been from Tens, but my first actual like my first time actually seeing anything from the Kings. It might have been the first time you took Tens and some of the other kids like into the community. I don't know if you remember the video. Like you said to the kids, like, how you guys doing? And they said something to Tens. It's like, well, that ain't loud enough. How y'all doing today?
Right,
That was the first thing I ever seen from the Kings. And I don't even think
that was the very first event. That was the very first like community outreach event I did.
Okay.
I had just had a tryout, I think on like a Saturday, and that was an event on a Tuesday. So like 3 days later, I just reached out to those guys that tried out and said who would want to come, and Tins came out. And I remember Tins doing it. I was like, that was dope. Tins, like my guy, you know, like that was super dope. But yeah, like 8 of those guys came out. I think only like 2 of them, Tins and somebody else, were like on the team. But it was dope that they all ended up coming out and doing that. And I realized like people do want to give back, they just don't know how. Like most people think. Like I used to think you had to be rich to give back, but really just giving back a little bit of your time and what you've learned is just as valuable as any money that you can give back.
Yourself. That's what I tell people. Just of yourself. Whatever you have to offer, just give it. That's what
for sure. For sure.
And so this has been your second year with the Kings. You're entering like your third year of tryouts, right?
Yeah.
And so how did the first year go? I mean, I know, but how did the first
year go? For sure,
go?
Man. The first year was amazing. Besides the fact of like as a business was difficult figuring that out financially, like doing all this on my own, and but as far as like the team and the growth, man, it was a beautiful thing because a bunch of guys came together that just had a passion for basketball and they believed in my vision, they believed in me, and we ended up winning the whole West Coast, which was super dope. Far West Division champions.
Especially for a first-year team.
First-year team, man. We all took a trip to Texas. That was the second time I ever did that besides being in Pop Warner and going to Hawaii with my team, hopping on a plane. So that was like a dope experience in itself. We ended up falling short in Texas, but that was like a great jump start to the San Diego Kings.
Really helped put them on the map. And then so the second year, how did the second year go?
So the second year, we had a little more struggles. I figured out more of the business side of things a lot better. I learned my lesson from year one. I got to figure out, my accounting and figure out, because in business, man, you got to know where your money's going and how you're doing it. At first, I was over here like, boom, just trying to throw the money around. And next thing I know, I was running through the budget. And if I didn't have somebody like Attorney King believing in me, and I was like almost 50 grand over budget, bro. I asked for 100 G's, I'll get through a year. We ended up spending over $150,000 and I got stuck with it. That was like a blessing. That just says a lot about him and his character, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Not only did he stick with me, the dude hired me to be in his office, so I didn't have to worry about my own bills. I became his community outreach specialist. I started working in his office and like getting clients signed up, and you know what I mean? Like the dude just believed in me, you know what I mean? Like I had guys in Pop Warner believe in me. I had that coach in high school believe in me, but just to have him believe in me as a grown man, it was like that reassurance. And to this day, like I grew up worshiping, like I wouldn't say worshiping, but I love like Junior Seau, Jerry Rice, Deion Sanders, Charles Woodson, like these guys that I idolized growing up. And then as a grown man, like this dude is like amazing to me. I'll go in on a holiday on Monday, and next thing you know, this dude's in there working. Not so many people around. He's in there still working. It's a made man now, Rolls Royces and tons of money, but he's all about his clients and making sure everything's like legit and running. So what I've been able to learn from him and sit with him and just the way he talks to me has been like the biggest blessing in my life, to where I really look up to this dude. I'm naming my kid Abraham King Muheize in August when my baby's born. And it's honestly because like, thank you, I appreciate that. And it's honestly because this man showed me like something special, And I mean, his story is crazy. I mean, how many people, started college at 11, graduated by 15, finished law school by 19, youngest attorney in California by 21. This is a grinder. This is a worker. This is somebody who kind of looks like me, another Middle Eastern, but like, okay, I'll get in the system and beat the system myself. I don't need nobody to tell me that I'm Middle Eastern or have anybody else rely. I'm not relying on nobody. I've had to rely on coaches and them to like, you know what I mean, to accept me. But this dude's done it like on his own with his mom, his brother. So I was just, man, his story just blows me away. And just to be around this dude, I really look up to him.
That's dope, and it's genuine. Like he's genuinely like a nice guy. Definitely. Like when you just see, like, you see his website and you see like all the stuff on TV and online about him and in social media, and it's like the whole King persona is real. Like it's real. Like the palace, his office is like a palace. His Rolls Royce is gold, and so it's easy to like see that and kind of think he might be a little arrogant and kind of like he feels like he's up here, but it's not at all, bro. I've only spoken to him twice, and it's been at Kings games, and he's like the nicest guy ever.
Definitely.
Super nice.
Definitely is.
So going into year 3, what do you where do you see the Kings going, and kind of like any changes you think you're gonna make, or is it gonna stay the same, or just where do you see the Kings going in year 3?
So I see a huge change, especially with coming to Elkhorn Valley High School. At the end of season 2, we moved from Lincoln High School to Elkhorn Valley High School, and that was a huge eye opener for me, being back at my high school, where the support on campus has been amazing. The support of the community in El Cajon has been amazing. Having Saquon Casino get involved with us has been amazing. They're located in El Cajon, deeper into El Cajon. So just that coming together like that is great. You know, we're going to be.
What made you go to Lincoln for starters as opposed to just starting here?
When I was looking for a head coach, I was looking for somebody that was like all about the community. And Jeff Harper Harris was all about that. You know, with his increase the peace in the streets and some of the things he was doing at Lincoln, and I admired that. And at first, we weren't even at Lincoln. We were at Grossmont College.
Okay.
And Grossmont College was taxing us. And so just the expense, like I said, I had to cut expenses like crazy. And with Jeff being the head coach at Lincoln High School and being able to tie that in, we ended up practicing there and playing there, and that became a blessing for us as well. But at Lincoln, I'm just another guy. Play football. You might have heard of me playing football, but that's it. I'm just another guy. But in El Cajon, I'm like the guy. I'm the kid that took the team to the stadium, and they have my picture up, and the teachers still talk about me, and the buzz is still there to where we had a game here, and it's just electrifying. They're just so happy that this kid from El Cajon is doing this in El Cajon now. So, you know, that I'm excited about for year 3 to really grow that even more, because I just jumped into it and threw a game here, seeing like we killed it with that one game. I'm going to bring all the rest of the games here. So I just finished out the season. But now that I'm going to be able to promote all my games here all season long, I really feel like we're going to grow that fan base. You know, instead of having one side of the bleachers packed, I plan to have another side of the bleachers packed. But my main goal still, like I said, with Alumni United, is to get the Kings in the community, where I want to put together a San Diego school tour, where Monday through Friday I want to have us in 2 schools split up into groups. You know, I have 12 people on a team, 6 at one school, 6 at the other, 90 minutes. After that 90 minutes, we have like an hour break, and we're at another school each. So we're hitting 4 schools in a day.
That's a really good idea.
So within 5 days a week, that's 20 schools. I'm looking to get that funded through my nonprofit, where I can actually pay the players to do that. And not only will I have a schedule Monday through Friday throughout at least like 8 months of school during a school season, now I can reach out to the Padres, I can reach out to the Goals, I can reach out to local entrepreneurs and say, hey, here's the schedule. If you'd like to come and speak at any of these schools, we have a schedule at these schools on how we work out. You can come and join us. So that way I could be reaching out to the community to get people that don't think you just have to give money. Just a little bit of time would be great. Some of these social media experts, how about you come explain to these kids a little bit about social media one day? Here's our schedule. Let me know what school you want to come to, or, you know, whatever times. This is our schedule.
That's really dope.
So that's really the plan I plan on doing. I just see myself every day in the different schools. I want to be able to like give back to these kids, you know. I just don't feel like I had somebody like that with me to where I want to be that for as many kids as I can.
That's dope, bro. And I'm the same way with it. Like I said, I don't know. Like I told you, I work at a before and after school program as my day job. I've been working with kids for like 12, 13 years now, and I always tell people the thing that keeps me, working with kids is just like what you said. I try to be the person that I needed or would have needed when I was in high school.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because like I played basketball and football, and like my older brother was good at basketball, my younger brother was really good at football, and I was kind of just average at both, and they kind of just naturally had it. And so I figured you kind of just have to be born with it. I didn't know, honestly, and it sounds like naive being an athlete, but I didn't know about like going to the gym and logging hours every day at your craft.
None of us did till Instagram came
right,
out.
And I didn't know about like, cause I've been watching back, like my dad's a Laker fan. I've been watching sports my whole life.
Right.
But I never knew about watching it for like the details of like getting better. I just watched it for entertainment. You know what I'm saying? And now that I know those things, like I said, I don't do it as much as I used to, but I still train in basketball. You know what I mean? Like I said, I still work with kids every day, and I try to just pass on that stuff that if I would have known that there was kids going to 24-hour fitness and working out for 3 hours a day so they can try to get recruited, I promise you I would have done it.
Right.
But I just felt like you got to be born with it, because that's how my brothers were. They were really good naturally. They went to practice, they practiced on it, and they were starters and all league and all of that. So I was like, I go to practice every day.
Right.
I work on mine. But it just must not be God given like it is.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if I would have had somebody to really tell me those things, I would have done it. And so now I try to be that person that's like, no, this is what you need to do. Make sure you hit the book. Make sure you're going to work on your game. Do this, do that. You know what I'm saying? So I try to fully be that person. So,
definitely. Yeah, you and me both, man. Because I'm in that same boat as you, honestly, where like I wish I would have put in more work. You know what I mean? I wish I would have grinded a little bit harder. Like I even tell the guys on my team now, like, man, if you only have 8 hours in a week with the San Diego Kings, your off time, man, you should be putting in work. So that 8 hours you are with the Kings, man, you're busting your ass. You're making that effort because I'm not going to invest 8 hours of my time to half-ass it. You know what I mean? Like as a grown man, this isn't your time to half-ass it. If you're trying to go to Europe or if you're trying to go overseas or you're trying to get a deal, you better be ready to bust your ass. So there's guys out here busting their ass. Just look it up on Instagram right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's like my message to my players now because I want to give these guys a second chance. When I came back from college because I got injured both years, and my coach just played me, I didn't have no backup plan. That was it. There was no like a semi-pro team for me to hop on. I just didn't feel like I was able to I didn't want to get on one of these teams that was up and folded or you know what I mean? I just did, and I felt like I was in better shape once I came back than what I was in college because my arm got to heal better, my knees got to heal better, but I didn't have that opportunity.
Right.
You know, so that's why now I feel like with these guys given this opportunity, man, it could be amazing. Like for this past year to get 2 guys to go and like change their lives, bro, that's like the best feeling in the world to me. You know, we got Nate Wright going to play with the Harlem Globetrotters. I'm sure you see his snaps. This guy's in different cities, different hotels, playing basketball. Everything's covered and paid for. Like, bro, what more can you ask for? You know what I mean? Like, you're living a great life right now. Now, Brandon Rourke, he's going to Mexico. He's moving to Mexico to go play. Like, you're going to be in another country. All you're going to get to do is play basketball. All you're going to get paid for it. All your housing and stuff is covered. Like, man, God bless you, bro. That's a blessing right there, you know?
That was another thing I was going to bring up because I've being a part of the Kings organization, being friends with you and just trying to help like bring more talent or just anybody that can come be a part. I got friends that hoop, and just the first thing when I tell them like, hey, bro, you should think about going to try out for the Kings. A lot of the first thing they say is like, are they getting paid, bro? And that's what a lot of times when I tell them, it's like, I'm not a player, so I'm not exactly sure how all the money works. I don't want to lie and say yes or no or whatever. But I tell people like, even more so than that, like, bro, do you get paid when you're at 25
exactly.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
You get paid in the men's league?
Right, and at least with this, it's giving you a platform to get to something else.
Exactly.
Like you just said, it's 2 guys that's getting, they're legit professionals.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so...
life-changing.
Exactly. And I tell people the same thing. Like, I know a few photographers that we're not super cool like that, but you do some networking and you meet some people, and I tell them, like, yo, I could put you in touch with my boy Abe. I'm sure he'll let you pull up to the games, do some video, do some pictures. They like, not finna be snapping no pics and doing videos for free, bro. I'm like, well, bro, then I'm like, ain't you doing it for free right now?
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you go and take pictures of your friends, isn't it free right now?
Right.
Like, why won't you just go there?
For sure.
He has a platform for you, for everybody. Like I haven't seen one person come to a San Diego Kings game and not be able to like do them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Whether you want to cheer the way you want, whether you holding a camera or a microphone, or even a player that want to come and like watch the game and maybe show up to practice the next time. And even if you don't join the team right away, it's an opportunity. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like a lot of people don't. I don't want to get too preachy, but a lot of people don't recognize opportunities, bro.
Right. And I was just going to say that too. A lot of people don't recognize opportunity. They never just really had an opportunity. Like for me, like with the players, like that's an opportunity to play and actually get your chance to go. If this opportunity wasn't there, where's your contract? Show me a contract showing you got paid. And I'll say, okay, come to me like a businessman because no one's paying me to market them. You know what I mean? That's what a lot of guys don't understand. I get guys that call me from out of state. I mean, Alabama, freaking Washington, freaking Indiana, Texas, and they want to come out here and they ask me like, oh, so how does compensation work? I'm like, well, just like the NBA, it's what can you bring to the table? LeBron James make the most money because he brings the most fans in that game. So if you're going to bring fans in, I'll pay you $5 for each fan you could bring in. Basically, I set up a system online where they can get paid on how many people they bring in because the system won't work if I'm sitting here trying to just fork out money to guys to hoop. That's why my goal of getting these guys paid is guys that get in the community
outreach,
and that's how you get paid.
That's really
like, what are you really bringing to the table? Because it's not just basketball. Basketball is just part of the platform.
And at that point, it makes you a real professional.
Exactly.
More so than just showing up to practice and playing in a basketball game.
For sure.
Because even like professionals on any level don't just show up and just do the job in the quote unquote 9 to 5 hours.
Right.
There's more that go with it. Even NBA players, a part of their contract is getting in the community and showing up at different events and stuff like that.
Exactly.
And that's what I've been telling people because, like I said, we're friends, and you showed me kind of like the outline of how you want to do that at a couple Kings practices. And I don't, like I said, I don't know it extensively, but I've told a couple of my friends, like, look, this is what he's trying to set up to potentially get people paid.
Right.
But like I said, even if you don't get everybody wants to get paid.
Right. Of course.
If nothing else, for their time and or their talent.
Right.
But at the end of the day, like I said, it's a platform. You know what I mean?
It's that job mentality that a lot of people in America are just accustomed to. You know what I mean? Like I said, when I got back from college, I wasn't even about trying to just go work for somebody, hourly, which I had to because I had to pay bills. But on the side, I was still going and trying to raise capital, and I was only making $200 a week, bro, to hopefully close a deal.
Right.
And like I said, in 4 years, I only closed 2. So that just says a lot about me. You know what I mean? Like, but what type of knowledge could I have had for those 4 years to learn to talk to investors over the phone? Now, to do stuff in the community for the school where I ran the basketball league for free, gave them $9,500. I ain't even got $1,500 in my account. I'm giving my high school $9,500. So for me, I don't feel bad when a cat's like, I need to make money and all that. Bro, I need to make money too. You know what I mean? But I'm not stopping my opportunity over some money.
Right.
But because what I learned in those 4 years, I was able to go into sorry, your car's full. I was able to go into Attorney King's office and pitch Attorney King about an investment opportunity, and boom, I got my partner. I was able to learn to like get over the phone and get sponsors. What I was able to just learn with that process was way more important than any money I could have made at that time. And that's the same mindset. I'm looking for guys like that.
Right.
If your main focus is like, I need to get paid to be at practice or get paid, I don't want you, bro. Like, let me go find the guy that wants to be a part of this. You know what I mean? That sees this opportunity, because none of them are gonna be like, Abe, I'll pay you every month to market me every single month. And I could be doing that. I could easily be like, look, I just got this guy at the Harlem Globetrotters. Look at what the Harlem Globetrotters make. Hey, this guy's playing overseas in Mexico now. Look at what they make. You want that opportunity? $100 a month. I'll be marketing you to get that opportunity. I can do that now. You know what I mean? But I'm not about that. It's not even about the money for me. Like, I'll find my ways to make my money. But I'm here to grow. I'm here to still build the community, because I really feel like community first is literally the only way to make this thing work.
Sure.
You know?
Sure. Well, that's really all I have with you, man. I appreciate you for being my first guest, man. Like I said,
Definitely.
I'm gonna try to really, get this thing going.
Definitely.
Like I said, we got a few more I got to shoot before it comes out, but I think it's going to be beneficial, like on a lot of different ways.
For sure.
Thank you again for sitting
Yeah,
down.
no, definitely, man. Appreciate you, bro.
No
This
doubt.
was dope.